what's really going on. What's really going on in the world, in the sense, what's quote unquote really going on. Bob Rhodes says something that's funny, but I won't go into it. But the American Britain Empire, I think we need to quote unquote talk about this and get some clarity on what this actually is and if this is a real thing. But what I mean when I say American Britain Empire, I should say the UK, but Britain in the sense. The royal family of Britain and quote unquote the allegiance that America has to it. What is the actual White House? Why is it called the District of Columbia? Why is it not a state? Simple questions like these usually get you to a lot of different levels. Understanding that this empire has, if you would say, blood handshake partnerships with like the Saudi Arabian people, what a lot of us call the Middle East, OPEC people, or OPEC country, Ottoman Empire, like I said, what we call Arabic people a lot of times. Dealing with the Spanish Empire, you're dealing with the Roman church and different things like that. And because if you really get to it, the Pope has the most snitches. Pope got more snitches than the CIA. That shit right there is real. Why? Because every Roman Catholic priest is an agent for the Pope. It's his obligation to kiss the ring and tell what he has to tell. And I might as well, France, because France has a lot of empire or has a lot of colonies around the world and just takes part in the business. Also, like what's going on, quote unquote, with the climate change. That's in France, right after the other shit that just happened in France, just to make sure no one would, even pay attention to it, because everybody's praying for France still and shit. But we're almost at a point in the world, going back to, quote unquote, what I was saying in my other video, we're at a point in the world where the, quote unquote, poor people, which is basically black nations and the people that, quote unquote, represent them, have to beg the empire to calm itself down. The empire is literally destroying everything, taking everything, and it's to the point where, quote unquote, we have to beg them to, slow down, because if you would, the rest of the world will be destroyed while these, quote unquote, beautiful British and Anglo-Saxon empires will, prosper for the next 15 years until their inevitable demise. But that goes to the point that I keep on stressing that I don't think no one really cares about. So I'll stress it again. What people call space travel and what people deem as Star Wars and Star Trek and all these other quote unquote I don't want to say that, all these other quote unquote let's just say fantasies of space travel and time travel and living in the galaxy. As I keep saying, the International Space Station, a lot of people, I don't know what you think I mean it's similar to what you saw in Star Wars, I believe, the giant circular disc with the quote unquote 2 stations on it. And it's in space right now with quote unquote Russians, a few Korean people, and 1 or 2 good old dumbass Americans. So, help make sure all the procedures are going forward. Now, mind you, black people helped build it. Mind you, black people helped service the first technology that made it possible to even do the shit. Yeah. We get all that. Believe me. But guess what? Black people also made weapons for it. Black people also made tires for it. Black people also made things that make the quote-unquote exploration of space possible. So what does that mean? Someone is going to use our genius-ass ideas and go invade space. Because these are not, beautiful, helping people. These are colonizing, fucked up people. As you see, they're working on any way possible. Well, first of all, go back to GMOs. Why are they making GMOs? You can take that shit anywhere. Do I need to say more? You can take the shit anywhere. You can take the shit in the goddamn space, and you don't need the regular shit to grow it, because it doesn't grow from seeds. God damn it, man. It's just simply what's really going on. But understand that, quote unquote, this empire that colonized the world, or colonized sections of the world enough to make its profit, is now in the process of going up, if you would. Because as we all know, if we go through history, white people will go underground to survive if shit get real hot or real hard above ground. Now they're trying to leave ground and go to a place where, quote unquote, there is no competition. Quote unquote, because we ain't gonna get into all that. But, so, us people of the planet, if you would, are begging this empire, who is expanding its possibilities of leaving this planet, to help us on this planet. I think if you understand what we're actually asking, we'll understand that we're never actually going to get a real answer. We're going to get shitted on, and we're going to, quote unquote, get lied to. And by the time we even realize what's happening, we're not even going to really realize a bottle of water is $5 a gallon. We ain't even talking about cars and driving and shit like that. We talking about human necessities will be so high, and by the time we even realize it, and stop talking about all this feel good bullshit, it'll probably be too late. I mean, but really seriously, think about it. You talking about GMO foods. You talking about, quote unquote, people who are building robots to do everything. You're talking about people who are building nanotechnology, which can invade any body and take it over with, quote unquote, computer generated technology. That's what nanotechnology is. That's what the fuck a GMO is. Going back to, get chemtrails up in the mix. Chemtrails drop a, quote unquote, is a type of aerosol that comes out of the back of now commercial planes, not just jet planes, but they come out of the back of commercial planes. What are these aerosols spraying? What are they actually carrying? Why are they spraying shit over the earth? What are they, quote unquote, preserving and freezing? I'm talking about, come on, man. We're talking about, it's not even, it's not even that deep. Really, you can fuck around and get on Google News, click 6 things, and you might fuck around and learn something. I mean, it ain't hard, and I'm not saying, to be funny or condescending or nothing. I'm just saying, goddamn, man. Because if we started holding our quote-unquote lecturers and shit like that accountable of teaching us all this feel-good shit, all that shit sounds real nice. It's very nice. What's going on in the world? Why don't we know? Why the fuck have we disconnected completely with South American struggle? Why? That's quote-unquote young people, because, I'm not talking to the elders, because they know what the fuck it is. I'm talking about us younger people, my generation, quote-unquote, my generation of revolutionaries. Why are we disconnected with the rest of the world, and quote-unquote with the rest of America? Because we claim America all day, but we only really be talking about the United States. That's, like, what the fuck is that? We got to stop doing that, though. Because when you really get to what's going on in the world, in America, we have the quote-unquote financial power and quote-unquote some of the freedoms that will allow us to help other people and allow other people to achieve shit that we quote-unquote take for granted. And that's the realest revolutionary shit on the simplest sense. That's the same way the brothers go out and feed the homeless. If we could, quote-unquote, feed our $10 bills and our $100 bills to our brothers and sisters in Africa, I'm talking about the real people. Fuck politicians and fuck all that other shit. I'm talking about real people on the ground that we meeting and talking to and all this other cute, good shit. If we actually fed these people and actually sent shit to them like we should be doing with the American privilege that we have, while everybody talking about this other privilege bullshit. Nigga, we got the American privilege. Nigga, our dollar is damn near $100 in most countries. Well, let me just make it. Our dollar is damn near $50 in most countries. Why the fuck can't we send somebody $10 and change their life? Now, you gotta ask me, what have I been doing? Nigga, who is Jerome Hanley? Don't be coming for me. You don't know who I learned from, man. Calm down. But we gotta actually do this work. We gotta actually understand that we're, like I always say, we're international people. We are in the United States. There are some of us in South America. There are some of us in Europe. There are ass of us in Africa. There are some of us in the well, I said because that's the quote unquote East Indies and Asia and all of that, Australia, because crackers are still over there killing us there. But understanding this world is a lot bigger than America. 2, this world is a lot bigger than our emotions. I hope we can understand that. But the world is a lot bigger than our emotions. Terminology kills us. I mean, that's just a real simple point. Terminology kills us. We be arguing about a bunch of bullshit, ain't got shit to do with nothing. I mean, the arguments that we should have, we run away from. The arguments that mean not a goddamn thing, we spend 6 years on. So I mean, we need to quote unquote clearly define what we mean when we speak to each other. We need to just honestly say what we mean and stop trying to make everyone feel okay by what we're saying. We need to just say what we mean. Say what we mean and mean what we say. I mean, that should be self-explanatory. And my favorite point is always feel-good information versus political information. If you have political information, quote unquote, everything I'm saying in this video is like, damn, nigga, you ain't say shit new yet. But if you got feel-good information, you might be like, wow, nigga, what? I didn't know none of this. And I'm not saying it to be funny or mean. I'm just saying political information is actually, quote unquote, the content of what's actually going on in the world and how it affects us. Because that's what a lot of people don't understand. We're in the contents of history. I know it's our life and all this shit is very, sensitive and close to us. We're in the context of history. Contents and context of history. How many generations of slavery out of it? How many generations of quote-unquote African revolutionary teachers did you have in your family to give you the core foundation that you stand on today? If you're the first generation, then in a sense you're the most important generation. That also means you got to calm down and humble yourself, because the people who come from you must be able to quote-unquote, if you would, you must be able to captivate all in a sense. So, don't be shallow. But I mean, really though, I really need to create a list of quote unquote the empires and how they rule the world. This is just some off the hand thing that I did to help me move better. But I'm telling you, France, America, Britain, Spain, the quote unquote OPEC country, the what we call quote unquote Chinese people. We need to understand that these are empires that are quote-unquote standing. Not all of them are against us in the quote-unquote context of what we say is against us. And we damn sure know majority of them are not for us. It's a very... history is off the chain. But just understand, this shit is bigger than the United States. It's bigger than our feelings. The world is being destroyed. Our children will not know what the fuck 90% of the shit that we grew up taking advantage of. Half the bugs that we kill today, our kids won't even know what the fuck they look like. I mean, I know you don't give a fuck about that. I understand. But our kids won't be able to see half the trees that we saw, the way the clouds look today. Sunsets are going to be more beautiful because sunsets are damn near based off of the chemicals or pollution that's in the earth. So sunsets are going to be beautiful, but that means the earth is being destroyed at the same time simultaneously. So, I mean, like, it's just a really big world. So what's really going on?